Okay. Sorry guys, we got the boot for the old 60 minutes. So I'm just getting back in. Here we go. Hey.
Can you actually
Um,
see me?
I can see you, but it's still doing the circle, but it's okay. But now you're in a
Uh,
different position. Yeah, it gave me a warning. I was like, you've got like 50 seconds, and then it just died before I had a chance to say,
oh, I'm
hey,
sorry
we've
about that. I
got
didn't
thing.
know.
Yeah, yeah. No,
I didn't know.
it's a pain how it does that. It's really annoying. Um, no, so you were saying, you were using PlayStation and you were making
Yeah.
music on there.
So yeah, I started out like that, and then I ended up wanting to. Yeah, Rick is saying that I'm frozen. Rick
Yeah.
is this amazing. He's an amazing director. He's in the LA area, and
Yep.
he's a really cool guy. We've been in touch for a bit now,
Hmm.
and he does amazing videos. I'm going to send you some links
Yeah, do
eventually.
send thanks. Yeah, send to
Yeah,
that.
it's cool that we're all in this together. That's something that
Yes,
still
and
freaks me
yes,
out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but your internet on your side is like
I'm
that. But
I'm
we
trying.
can still hear you, so
Yeah,
you're still
I'm
here.
trying to get the other phone going because I got this other phone here.
Hmm.
Uh, it's supposedly, it's actually brand new. I bought it because I was afraid that this phone could be a little old school.
Yeah.
The one- But
I think you're buffering again. Getting some buffer. I can hear you now, and your head's moved
okay.
slightly. Now we have an eye and a forehead. Yeah, it's struggling, I think.
Uh, Because that, okay, so I'm trying to log in the other phone, and since now everything is Google linked, if I try to hook up on one, it pushes me out from the other. Can
Yeah,
you
cool.
can I
Okay.
try and get on it, and then I'm gonna be
Yeah,
right
go
back?
for it. Yeah, go for it. Go for
So
it.
maybe we can, yeah, I'm just so sorry that this thing is happening.
Oh,
I'm
don't
gonna be
worry. We had chaos
I'm gonna be
last
right
night.
back.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
be right back.
Okay. That's really cool, Rick, of you to join us. I'm not sure if I follow you or anything or know of your films, but yeah, hopefully Max will send me some links and I can check it out. Um, yeah, 'cause, I'm a massive horror head, so love watching as much as I can and seeing new stuff. So yeah, hopefully, hopefully we get him back. Yeah, Max is awesome. I've known Max, yeah, I've like known Max since I guess 2017, 2016, I guess. So yeah, when he really started putting stuff out, um, I was one of the like probably one of the first like countries outside of Europe to, share his work and premiere his singles and new stuff that he was working on. So yeah, we've always kept in touch. So as soon as he does something, he always sends it to me. So it's really cool that we're like able to finally chat when he comes back in. Yes, yes. Yes, I'm gonna get him to talk about that actually. When he rejoins us about working with Cody as well, because that's just pretty damn amazing as well. Um, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna bring that up. Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. There was that was the Just trying to think what that was called. That was the mm, my memory. Done with you, and it had the T was like a big X, like a like a cross. Yeah, I remember that one. That was like that was early 2015. Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm in love with the artwork. The especially, I mean, I don't think the same person did the artwork for that for Done with You, but from A Dance of Shadows onwards, it was all done by this amazing dude at Branca Studio who just pumps out the best shit I've ever seen. And I think he's just a one guy team. He does musician merch and like yeah, album covers, vinyl, everything. And he's just got this just amazing way of capturing almost any aesthetic that he's given. So yeah, and he's done such a rad job with everything that Max has done um as well. And also like the even on the new single, like I love the artwork, the new artwork. It's like the leather and the gloves and nails and stuff. And that was done by the same guy as well, even though it's a different style, which just shows how he's just so adaptable. For anyone joining, we're just waiting for Max. He's having issues with his phone on his end, so he's just plugging in a newer phone. So he'll be back. Oh, sorry, just knocked my light out, so you've got a nice view. Hang on a sec, I'll just fix that. There we go. Sorry, guys. If you don't know, I do this from my bedroom, and I have a huge desk set up, and then I have all this stuff everywhere, and all these cables running everywhere, and yeah, so I get trapped in a bit of a maze when I'm trying to do things as well. So yeah, hopefully we'll give him a couple more minutes to come back. And another, I was going to say another. I've got two more in the next couple of days. Two more series coming up, which are both very different. So I'm looking forward to both of them actually. So on July 11th, we've got Marissa Nadler, who is just an amazing female performer, singer, just stunning. And yeah, we've become close friends over the years. So, and I've seen her play numerous times and ended up in tears. She's just amazing. And then on July 14, we're gonna kind of go to the complete opposite side of the spectrum. We're going to be speaking with Author and Punisher, which is a lot of like industrial and lots of noise and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to that one as well. And I've got some new ones also to announce in the next few days that I'm just working on new times and dates for. So yeah, but it should be really good. But yeah, oh, I love San Diego. San Diego is one of my favorite places. Burritos, give them to me. I want them all. Um, yes, yeah, he's amazing. The way Author and Punisher, the whole thing happened with him is actually he he actually logged in and was watching one of these streams. Um, yeah, and I sent him a message. Hey, here he is. And he sent me a message just saying, hey, I sent him a message rather saying, hey, like I saw you log in, you were watching the stream, like that's so awesome, like thank you, blah blah. And he was like, uh, he's like, "Oh, is that an invitation?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, of course. If you want to come on the show, yeah, hell yes." So yeah, that's how that happened. Um, TJ, what's TJ? Is that like initials for? Yeah, he does create his own instruments. Is TJ, is that Tijuana? I'm thinking, is it like initials for Tijuana? Yeah, it is. That's what I thought. Okay. Max is coming in. Hello. We
Hello, is it working this time?
we have head and we still have a little bit of a. It must just be your internet connection, I think.
I am so damn sorry about this. I feel tremendously trippy.
Oh, don't worry about it. We can hear you clear as a bell. So yeah, it's totally
That's
fine.
that's not ideal, and I don't know. I wish I could make up for it, but I
Oh, we
feel
can do
lame now.
we can do another one some other time and just chat about crap. Don't worry.
Sounds good.
There's plenty of time in the future.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you, Cherise. That's a nice compliment. Um,
that's
I was
awesome.
I was just saying, the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, of course, is you getting together, learning how to play and everything. But Rick, sorry, not Rich. Rick just
Yeah.
reminded me, of course, that I need to ask you about the the whole like working with Cody, meeting Cody Carpenter and all that. And have you managed? Did you get to meet John at all?
So it's funny. I've been a fan of Carpenter for a long time, but I started also getting into Cody's work when I realized that he'd done some music for Carpenter's movies. The Masters of Horror series is, I
Yes.
believe, when he
Yeah.
started to work specifically on his own for his father's movies. And I was fascinated because I liked the simplicity of John's textures and sounds, but you could tell from the very first notes that Cody was playing on those first soundtracks that he was a virtuoso. You could tell that. You could tell
Yeah,
that he had,
he's got a lot more going on, hasn't he? More layers
yeah.
going on in his music. I
Not
think it's
only
a
that,
mate.
but he's also very musical in the sense that his whole thing is really making music for
Yeah,
the sake, for the beauty of it, and
yeah, yeah,
it just transpires. It's something that shines out from him, and so I was um, working. I was like collaborating with a US website that did like spatials about synthwave. This
hmm
was around 2014. I
hmm
had just learned about the whole synthwave thing existing,
yeah.
and
I
when
love that because you've actually, kind of secretly been a part of it, I guess, So it's funny that
yeah,
you only just heard it. It was already in your head. It was already
it,
something that.
that's the thing. That's the beauty of it. I was looking for people that would play synth, and so I was like using the hashtag synth on Twitter and stuff. This was back in 2014, and then
hmm
I ended up on this same things that was like synthwave, and I'm like, what is this thing? And then it turns out it is what it is. So, but basically back then I was collaborating with this website, and I was like, we're not doing interviews. Why don't we do interviews with people that are out there and that have been doing crazy stuff? So that's how I got in touch with him at first,
hmm
and we had a chat, and I asked him some stuff, and then I wrote an article about his new stuff. But
Yeah.
we kept in touch because the more I knew about the stuff that he'd been doing, the more I was drawn to him. and we have this connection in the fact that we both grew up only children, and
Yep.
he loves 16-bit video games as much as I.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he has a thing for RPG games. They usually have this crazy Japanese soundtracks, and he's really into the Japanese culture as well. So I was like, I felt that what he was doing had this really some sort of quality that was like very. I think you can hear it in the same way that his soundtracks are done. That it's very this song that makes me think of longing and sort of a embedded nostalgia in the
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
it thing. And so basically, I started writing the first album, A Dance of Shadows, and I had this song, and I was like, it would be insane, and it would be perfect for the song to have his synth lead on
Mm.
this. So I just sent him an email, and I sent him the song, and I was like, the song made me think of you. I was wondering if you'd like to do anything with it, and he just picked it up, and he did this amazing solo on it and sent it back. And I didn't tell
That's
him,
so
man.
cool.
I just sent him like, do whatever you want if you feel like the song speaks to
Needs
you. And he was
something. Yeah.
just like, yeah. And it was like, there you go. And the first time I listened to it, the song was "To Live and Die" on the air,
Hmm.
and it really changed everything for me because the solo was pure perfection. I actually started. I was very emotional when I first started the first time, and it's so
Mm.
perfect that I was like, this is the way, you know. And that's like after that, I decided that I'm going to try this more often because this is amazing, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And after that, really, he was the first to collaborate. And after that, I was like, if I have a song that speaks to me, that I think that a certain people could really be sounding great on it, I'm just going to try and send it out, and maybe this person is going to like it or not. But
yeah, yeah,
you know, in the end, what's the worst is going to happen? You're gonna
yeah,
receive it. Yeah,
yeah. The worst that's gonna happen is they're gonna not reply, or they're just gonna say no, but thank you. Like,
yeah, yeah,
there's
and that's
there's no harm in asking. Like, if you don't ask, you never know.
exactly,
So,
exactly, and really, and I believe that the most important thing is like, if you're sure, if you can hear oh, I guess I'm lagging again. Can you hear me?
yeah, yeah, we can still hear you.
Can you hear me now, Renette?
Yep.
Sorry. Something is up here. Anyway, you can hear when something works, and if you have like a gut instinct to go for it, I think why not? And and so yeah, that's how we started doing music, basically over email. And
Hmm.
for each and every album, Cody has been there, which is insane. It's
I
really
mean, as your first, I've got like that must be like next level because as your first collaborator, it's
yeah.
John Carpenter's son first and foremost, and second, someone who's just making incredible stuff. So it's like
Yeah,
as
and
it's pretty damn good.
it's amazing, and also really, he's such a gentleman. He's really a very kind person, and you can tell that he's in it for the love of music, which is something that transcends space and time. And he's there. He's been there every time I send him stuff. We talk on different subjects. It's been really an amazing pen pal kind of thing, and I'm
Yeah,
very
yeah.
grateful. So we actually ended up meeting the first time in London 2016,
Hmm.
and then we met again in 2018. And of course, it was my very first time getting to see them play the soundtracks live. You've
Hmm.
been to the shows.
No, I haven't. They haven't come here.
You haven't, because they haven't toured there yet.
Mm-mm.
That's
No.
so. You
If
have
I mean, if
yeah,
they did, everyone would go nuts. Like, yeah, but no, they haven't. They haven't done like the Lost themes and all that tours here. So,
because
mm,
right, because we have actually been talking about possibly making shows there together. You came up with this idea, and you had this
Yeah.
idea how Cody get there. So that's I didn't know that actually the tour didn't get to Australia, but
No, no.
it's gotta happen sooner or later. It should happen.
It
It
should.
was so emotional, Renee. You should check that out. It's
I've
like
I've watched a lot of it online and been like,
right, right.
oh, so
I had
jealous.
no, you shouldn't be, but really, it's something you're not expecting to happen ever. So I was
Mm.
there, and so I have this metal background where I'm like, I'm gonna be first row no matter what. I really like being, you know, up
Well,
there. So,
for something like that, yeah. I mean, if they did
oh
that
man,
here, was it sitting?
no.
Oh, see, if it's
Uh,
for something like that here, they'd probably have it as in a sitting
Uh,
thing.
uh, the, the thing in Italy too, I guess they did. They did like two shows, one in Rome and one in Turin, and I think the Rome show was sitting. But also in France, I've seen that it was done like in a cinema, so people would be sitting down. But really, it's a rock show, and it's rock, hard rock and
I
kicking.
think I'd be like so like overwhelmed that I would need to sit down. I'd be like,
Yeah.
I need to sit at the front row and just be like, just taking it all in.
So this thing in London was like at the Troxy, which is this awesome Art Deco place.
Hmm.
Beautiful architecture, and the place was packed. It was sold out. It was on Halloween, so you can
Yes,
imagine
yes.
this huge line. And I'd be being like, I mean, I took a freaking direct flight from Cagliari straight to London, so I'm there in like 2 hours, and because I wanted to make it, as quick as possible, I just went straight from the airport to the venue. And I'm by myself, and I'm there, and I'm standing in line. I have a Branca Studio shirt, and there's people with the Branca Studio shirts on
Hmm.
saying you can only trust Black Sabbath and stuff like that.
Yes, yeah,
And
yeah.
and it's everything is surreal. It's the Halloween night. I'm in London. I'm on my own, and Cody's like, "We're gonna meet after the show, so stick around." So I watched the whole concert. It just brings me to my knees. I'm
Hmm.
crying uh, in front of this thing, and besides Cody and John himself, the backing band is Tenacious D's backing band. You
Yes,
probably know about.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
John Koneski on guitar, and John Spiker on bass, and Scott Seaver on drums. They are such incredible musicians. And then they have Daniel Davis, who is Carpenter's godson,
Yes,
on guitar. There are a six-piece band, and it's so huge. It's just phenomenal.
yeah,
It was insane, and it went by so quick, and the whole place was shaking. People were going nuts,
yeah.
and people are, they're British, and they're mostly composed and standing there, and take. But I'm there, and I'm just freaking out. I was up front. I was between Cody and John, so they could actually see that I was up there, and I
Yeah.
couldn't stay still. It was just like a really great metal hard rock concert with this amazing guitar tone. So the show ends, and Cody comes out and is like, "Come with me. I'm gonna introduce you to my father." And
Ah, that's what I would. That's what I would have been like.
no, everything was just like really surreal, bizarre,
Yeah.
and Cody was he had a fever the very day, and they were
Hmm.
actually filming for the Blu-ray that eventually ended up being sold.
Hmm.
So it was intense. It was a little down. But I mean, he gets me up and is like, as we were going in, imagine this thing where there's this corridor, and then John Carpenter is there with his sound tech,
Hmm.
I guess his stage manager, and I mean, he's there, and Cody's like, "I'm going to introduce you to my father right now. I wanted to meet him." And already I could hear the stage manager going to John, and they're like, "Uh-oh, John, I guess somebody's here with you." And already they're like shooting the shit like, "Oh, Mr. Carpenter."
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan and stuff like that. So, but actually, it was like he was very, very nice. He shook my hand, and it was like the first thing he told me was like, "I was looking at you moving out and rocking on the on the first row, and I could tell you had a good time." And I was just like, I just shook his hand, and I was like, "Mr. Carpenter, that was an amazing show." And
Yeah. And I guess he also knew that you were, friends with his son too, so that helps.
that's interesting because I'm not sure how aware he was of who I was really, but Cody gave this such a sweet introduction. It was like he's an amazing Italian artist, and I'm like, what is going on here, really?
Yeah,
And so
and
we
you're being introduced as this to him, and you're
this was, trust me, it was bizarre, and I'm a huge fanboy. I gotta tell you, I can't keep it cool. I get
yeah, yeah,
starstruck.
yeah.
I really do. So I tried to just, having fun, and then we sat down. There was this couch backstage, and the whole backstage was full of people. This was in
Mm,
London, and it was the first time they played London, so there was like a lot of people in the backstage, you know.
mm,
Um, and I'm just there, sitting there, chatting with Cody. He signed my A Dance of Shadows vinyl that I gave it to him, and then we did this sort of exchange thing. And then I stayed there. I got to chat a bit with the band, and that was it for the first time. And then we met again. It was sort of brief, and then we met again 2 years later in 2018,
hmm
and we had a little longer of a sort of uh, a chat, but Carpenter is intimidating.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is a guy who's been around for a long time and knows his shit. Like, you know what I mean? It's like he's one of those
Yeah,
people. I mean, I just think it's amazing that this late, like, this later part of his life,
I'm so
he's
happy for it.
dedicated it to playing all this stuff live, like that he never thought of doing earlier. You know what I mean?
I am
Uh,
so happy for it because he's getting long deserved. He's getting
Recognition.
recognized. Yes, exactly. And that's the first
Yeah.
time happening on such a massive level, but it couldn't happen to a much. I mean, he's really a huge influence. He's a pioneer in my eyes, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's about time, It's really about time.
Yeah.
So I'm
And it's like
glad.
you forget that he does, like not only does he do the film, he does the music, and that's like incredible to be able to
It's
do
all
both.
together. It's all together, and
Mm.
you can really feel this coherence and throughout all of this stuff. And I would love to see one more Carpenter movie, but to be honest, it couldn't be a much better thing
Well,
to have him
the,
with the music.
yeah, there is another movie coming out, but uh,
You
Halloween
mean
Kill
yeah,
Halloween
yeah,
Kills.
but it's not directing; he's producing and doing
Yeah,
music, of course.
but
By the
like,
way, last score was insane. Again, the Halloween 2018 score, it was amazing.
hmm
Amazing work.
hmm it
You can
was.
really tell.
You can see the difference, yeah, in the music. But you know what? This would be my one thing that I would lie if I met John Carpenter. If he said to me, "Oh, what did you think of the last Halloween movie?" I would lie because um, I felt so betrayed
Really?
well, because in the early films, I know he didn't do all of them, but the first film especially, it was always like insinuated and subtly articulated that, of course,
Very
um,
subtle, yeah.
that this was, her brother, that they were related,
Yeah,
and that
yeah,
made sense. That
yeah.
that made it even more fucked up, and that's what, I loved that. And so he did that, and then when he did the most recent remake, he decided that he wanted to cut that tie and that they're totally not related at all and they're just complete strangers. And it's like,
But
hey,
is it out is it actually out? that it's not like that?
What's that? Sorry. No, like yeah, yeah. In the one that's not the newer one that's coming, but the
Yeah.
one that just happened. It is. Yeah. It's not her relative at all. It's not her brother. So, and that really like kind of killed me a little bit because being someone who watched every single Halloween film, like that was always such a crucial arc to the story.
Right, right, right. Part of
And
the mythology, really.
yeah, and then when he sort of said, "Nah, it's more fucked up that they're strangers," and I was like, "Oh, I don't know, I don't know about that." So that's my
You know,
that's my one like one and only criticism about John Carpenter, and
you know,
I would never say it to him because I'd be like, "I'm so sorry."
I think he's one of those people, and I guess it's the case with Cody.
Mhm.
They just get this mood off. They're very comfortable with their work, and they take criticism, or they seem to be like they don't give a fuck, and that's awesome. You can
Yeah,
just
I
get,
feel I would hate to meet him and he might make a I can't lie. And if he asked me and I said that and he'd probably go, "Well, it's not supposed to be like that. Fuck you." And I'd be like, "Oh my God, John Carpenter told me to get fucked. Oh my God." Like, it'd just be horrendous. So I would just never talk about it or like, whatever.
But
Because
I think the case with the movie is like it's just it wasn't that involved with it. He was
no,
there
yeah,
for the
yeah.
beginning. I
It
think he
was
liked the.
still like Rick's saying, it was still a really good film. But
I,
yeah, like
I
my
completely agree. Yeah,
but my only criticism was that the family story arc was
a
depleted,
little different. Yeah,
and that kind of was something that for fans that have watched those films since the beginning, it meant a
yeah.
lot. It kind of meant a lot to, and it was like, now we're not related. We're just going to pretend every film after the first one never ever happened. And it was
That's
like,
something
oh,
something of a trend recently, like with
mm,
even the recent Terminator one,
yeah.
where they start off basically from the second one,
And you're like,
and
what's going on? Yeah, yeah.
that's the
I
thing.
mean, yeah. For me, you know what's funny? For me, Terminator 2 will always
Hmm.
be the supreme Terminator film.
Wow,
My dad loved the first one, and he was like, "You need to watch the first one." And I watched it, and I was like, "Yeah, but nah, Terminator 2 is
you know,
better."
you
Like,
know,
Sarah Connor with the muscles and
the
just
scale of it, the scale of it is
yeah.
like this
Mm.
brutal explosion in scale of everything. Sarah in
That scene, the scene. I mean, everyone remembers that scene. It was one of the most amazing scenes in a film, I think. The scene where she walks up to the playground, she's holding the fence, and
yeah,
then and like the bomb or whatever goes off and just burn,
it
burns
raises my
through.
hair just hearing you describe the scene.
Yeah, it's like the burn. It goes straight through and the bones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I love the fact that the atmosphere, and it's interesting. It's something Carpenter talked about too, because Terminator was one of the first sort of like you could call action movie that would take a
Yeah,
lot of techniques from horror movies. And as a matter of fact, Cameron has worked on the set of Escape from New York as a
yeah.
as a visual artist. So you could tell that there's this kind of growing thing, this conversation. That's little Yoda.
That was Yoda. Sorry, guys, I hit the button again.
No worries. Cool.
Sometimes when I'm scrolling what people have said, I go boop, and it's Baby Yoda every time. I'm like, sorry, guys, Baby Yoda's on again today.
And so yeah, I gotta say that Terminator 2 is like the scale is huge, but I I,
Mm.
I love the first one too. And there's
Yeah,
something about the gritty atmosphere and the soundtrack that's still you have the whole orchestral thing, but the first time is really
yeah,
synthesizers and dark, and you can tell that
yeah.
I love the first one because up until like the first 40 minutes, if you don't know anything about the movie, it's hard for you to tell what's going on, and it's like,
What's going
who's
on?
this guy?
Yeah, yeah.
This is like
What the hell?
killer too, because at first it feels almost like a Jalo thing. You have these two
Yeah,
creeps sort of characters and this girl, and
Yeah.
you can tell right until the moment that the shotgun comes out who's going to shoot at what and what's going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's
Exactly.
a delicate balance to strike, and he does that with amazingly good manners.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
the second one is just like you could tell that this guy was on his way to make Titanic. You could really tell that this guy
Yeah.
is
I just like I like the redemption of like Sarah Connor's character.
beautiful.
And it wasn't cheesy. That's what I liked about it, is that like it was a
Oh, it's very
remake, a
yeah,
like a big studio remake that wasn't cheesy. Like all the other ones since have been just shit and cheesy.
yeah,
And
yeah,
but that one, you know, had like gusto, and it, like that, her coming back and being this tough woman, and like break all the scenes in her breaking out of the psych, you know, and
yeah,
all the big like, you know, motorbike rides and the
yeah,
trucks and the, you know, and like even when the T3 like does the arm and it goes through the woman,
yeah.
you know, and like and then when he walks out of the fire and he's like metal and then he comes back together and
In terms
um
of visual effects, when it came out, the thing just blew everything right out of it. It was like insane. You would see
yeah, it
this
was,
thing and
yeah, you're like, what the
happening.
is
Yeah,
going on? It was,
this
yeah,
is
it was
like what,
definitely,
1991, 1991,
it was
and
not,
92.
yeah, maybe 90, 92, 93, I think. Yeah. And then you had, of course, and then there's that cool scene where Arnold Schwarzenegger's walking down a hallway chasing them, and they're playing like Guns N' Roses or whatever, and he's got like a
That
huge box of roses, and he opens it and there's a big gun in there, and it's just like
that's
it was just so well done. Like
iconic,
so well
truly
done.
iconic, and it
Yeah.
just everything came up perfectly. No, it's amazing. It's like he brought it up to a different level with that one.
Mm. Yeah,
That's the thing
definitely.
about the big budgets, you know. If you have somebody that's going to be able to really take the helm and just have a vision and really, he's notoriously famous for being quite the controlling director, Cameron.
Yeah, 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 100%. And taking
You
things
know,
to like next level. I mean, like you mentioned Titanic. I hate that film.
you do?
Like, oh, it's just so boring to me. It's like one of the most boring things I've ever seen in my life. I've tried, tried to watch it once with some other people, and I was like, this is just boring me.
So
Just die already. Just sink and
I,
die. Sink
I have
and die.
fun story for you. So the movie came out, I think it was like 97, 98,
And it goes for a
and I
long
was,
time.
yeah, and I was like, I was a teenager, and DiCaprio was all the rage, and
Yeah.
it was like blonde and beautiful, and I'm like this dorky little dark skinny kid. So I'm like, there's this thing where it's like, oh my god, they're just going to watch this movie because this guy is beautiful. So I kid you not, I didn't get to watch the movie from 98 until 2013
Seriously.
when
Well, see,
when I got,
I was 18, I think. Yeah, 18, 19 or something when that came out. And so I remember when Leonardo DiCaprio was really cute and gorgeous when he used to be in Family Ties, which is a TV show. And he was in that before, and he was gorgeous in that. So he looks kind of different when he got towards the Titanic. But yeah, like
right,
um, yeah, but that's when he sort of went shot into stardom and stuff, and I guess. But yeah,
yeah.
in terms of
It,
like, you know, cinematography and all of that stuff, I totally get why people love it. But as a story in a film, I find it quite boring. I'd rather watch a documentary about it in 30
you know,
minutes.
you know, when I just got onto it, it gave me this vibe. I was not prepared for what it actually turned out to be. I got
Hmm.
in having this idea that I had in mind, but then the longer it went on, and I just thought this is like some kind of a cross between The Shining and Terminator and and Water. because if you think about it, he's like a horror movie in a sense. You have
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
haunted, you have this
I mean, I
haunted
think
kid that,
it's like when the action starts happening, that's when
yeah.
I was like, yeah, I can watch this. But it was all the crap at the beginning that I was like, I'm not interested in their love affair and blah 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 blah. And then like,
You know,
you know,
it's
and they
interesting. I think go for it, go for it.
no, that's it. I'm just like I just sound so negative, but I was just gonna say, but I love Leonardo DiCaprio. I love Baz Luhrmann's version of Romeo and Juliet that he was in. So I'm not against romantic films, by the way.
Yeah, yeah,
This is
yeah,
what I was
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
say.
It just
I'm
shook
not that
me.
pessimistic.
I get it. I get it. No, no, I do share the feelings, but it was strange because I had this prejudice that I held on for so long. And then I went in, watched it with my girlfriend at the time. She
Of
insisted that I
course.
watch it. And yeah, and I
That's how
really
it
trust,
starts.
exactly. And I really trust her sense of cinema and movies. So she said it's a good movie. I gotta go and give it a try. And
Yeah.
I really have to tell you, it really surprised me. It changed everything. All of the preconceived notions that I had about it, they just went out the drain because I thought this is basically a horror movie with some action thrown in and a love
Yeah.
story in there. But
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
could really, that's how you tell a story that makes the difference. And I feel like it's a good movie in the end, personally. Maybe
Yeah.
not stuff that I would. I,
For a main.
you know,
I kind of see it as a mainstream film, So it's like, yeah, it's good, but I wouldn't like put it in my, you know,
well, really, there's
accal.
nothing as mainstream as that one for sure.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah. It's one of those sort of ones where you're like, whereas I can look back on films like, say, They Live
oh,
and go, that 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 movie, what I watched it like a couple of days ago, right? Again,
yeah.
and
I've seen.
how it relates to all this shit that's going on right now is is so
Well,
insane.
I
Like,
gotta say, when I first watched They Leave, it was like, oh, so this is what's happening.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
I
It's
was
all
16 the first time, and it was like, this is reality. This guy is talking about reality. It's
yeah,
amazing,
yeah,
amazing.
and that's a really, again, a really strong message being kind of subtly put in a horror film.
I mean, everything that you have to know about the really trippy situation that we're in
Hmm.
is in there. John Carpenter
Yeah,
always had this thing that I think really describes a lot of the stuff we're seeing. He said this: the '80s never ended. That was
yeah,
started out with Reaganomics, pretty much set the tone for how we're still doing things right now,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is given money priority and everything else comes after.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
and then and then what do you have? You have a planet on the verge of collapse. So this was
yeah,
1988, so we're talking about 30 years
yeah,
now.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, yeah, watching that, I was just like, shit. Like, watching it at this period of time is really like, whoa, like
is
amazing.
everything is already the environmental pollution and the fact that
Yeah,
we're being taken for a ride, and all the media keeps throwing at us is just this crazy perfection models that we have to adhere to in order to be fruitful members of society and all this stuff. He had it all pinned down
mm.
back
Yeah,
then.
yeah. Someone's mentioning Prince of Darkness, so I was gonna say, yeah, of course.
You know,
I even liked the John Carpenter's vampires. I love vampire movies, so
it's amazing.
um,
It's
you
amazing.
know, so yeah, I definitely I love that stuff. I especially wore my solid my
Wow.
my this is like a solid solid silver
Silver?
fang necklace. Yeah. Yeah, I got it
Basically,
when
yours for werewolves and vampires, so you can kill them
yeah.
all.
Yeah, like I got it years and years ago. It's a before they made them everywhere, like cheap versions of them.
Yeah,
So yeah, there's an Australian designer who made these, and you could get them in
it's really
gold,
beautiful.
silver. It's nearly $300. Like it's solid. It's super. Like I've had this for
Wow.
years. Like I've had this for yeah, ever over 15 years. And basically all of us, like all of the girls, like in our group that used to hang out, we all have one. So
That's
and then
awesome.
yeah, and then when it would come to someone's birthday, um, like if the person didn't have one, we would all put in and buy her one
Nice.
if she couldn't afford it, because yeah, it was expensive. So you'd have to put it on like on layaway or whatever, like and
Wow, okay.
save up for it. So but yeah, then not long afterwards it started popping up everywhere, and I think someone in fashion used it in a shoot or something, and then next thing you know you can buy them for $10 made of cheap crap, and
Oh,
everyone
okay.
was wearing them, like but yeah, this is the OG. So yeah,
That's
but
awesome.
I wore it especially tonight because I was like, because we were going down the horror route. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. And yeah, vampires and Prince of Darkness too. Prince of Darkness has probably my favorite Carpenter soundtrack.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just and the fun thing about those two movies, Prince of Darkness and They Leave. I'm not sure if you know about this. Alice Cooper was in charge of getting production money. So he had this
Yeah.
company called Live Films, and they said, okay, you're gonna get some budget. And originally it was for one project, and then Carpenter split that money in two, and he made They Leave and Prince of Darkness,
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
87, 87, 88. And Prince of Darkness can be really, really scary,
Yeah, yeah.
but the movie is like just the images in the intro. They work so well with the soundtrack that it's such a
Yeah.
powerful combination.
Yeah, there's like
And
I was trying to think of it. There's another film that's like so great with I mean
by
every
Carpenter,
yeah, I think like every director has, at least one film or a few that
one,
are a bit, a bit of a flop. And I was gonna
right?
say like Ghosts on the one, Ghosts in Mars or whatever the hell that one was.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that was something I'd kind of like to forget about that it didn't happen. But like there's like there's always one like little thing. Oh, and I rewatched The Fog as well. That's
Beautiful,
that's
beautiful.
the colors and the soundtrack for that is really really good, as well. Like just so yeah, like incredibly well
When they
well done.
play when they played the Fog soundtrack live, they started off with this almost like a river of smoke, you
Yeah,
know, and but done in a certain way that the smoke stays low. I think it's called iced fog or something like that.
yeah. It's like low for a while, and then as it's
Yeah,
slowly coming up.
yeah. And then you can see this stage engulfed in this thick thing, and then he started to play just the piano part just by himself.
Yeah, yeah. Amazing.
Such moving soundtrack, beautiful soundtrack,
Yeah, because it is. It's actually like a really like a classic almost,
like a ghost
ambient.
story. Yeah,
Mm. Like so
classical.
that would be something that would be really awesome to actually watch. I'd love to see that. Yeah, like playing live the way it is. But
I really hope they bring the show in again because it's amazing. I really hope it happens
yeah, I
again.
hope they do. Yeah, I really hope they can bring it over here. But I was gonna
Yeah.
say for you, when you're making your music, do you
Hmm.
picture do you have, I guess, like a kind of a picture, like a horror scenario film in your head that you create in your head that you're working to when you're making music? Or, like
It's
how do you make, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, how do you make basically a soundtrack to nothing? Like, you know, is it like something that's in your head and like you have
Yeah,
a story that's, you know, and then from there you're able to like build up the
it's
music.
more like it's more like um, some sort of unconscious kind of thing
Hmm.
where it's mostly like I work with images, and it
Yep.
doesn't necessarily have to be coming, you know, it could be real life. I'm walking around, I see two people interacting, or I see even just walking by a particularly trippy sunset on a crazy day. It's usually visual and it's something like that. But there's
Mm.
also this thing where it's like it's really open. And what usually happens is I find a title somehow,
Hmm.
or a title finds me for a track.
Yeah.
And for the way albums work, it's like um, it so happens that I find this one song that sort of informs how the whole album should sound like.
Hmm.
And for A Dance of Shadows, that was Flatline, like the second song that's on the
Yep.
track list. And sometimes what happens is, um, you know, I did a remix of Sabrina Salerno's Boys. I'm not sure if you know that
Yes.
one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Boys, boys, boys. Yeah, I heard it.
There you go.
I laughed. Yeah.
So
It,
I love Sabrina.
yeah. Yeah. I
And
mean, in Australia, we only know that one song. There was like a hit for
right.
ages. Like, it was a
Okay.
hit for
So
ages.
like that's the fun thing. The first sound I can remember is Deep Red by Goblin, and probably the closest one is that song by Sabrina Salerno. I was 5 when that song came out, 1987, and the funk of that stuff really stuck with me. The funk of those
Yeah.
first, you know, and so when I started writing for Confrontational, I knew that I wanted to go back to basics. So I clearly remember just okay, what was the very first stuff? What's me, what's really
Mm,
me if you go,
mm,
and then going back to the roots I just, you know, I remember, always remembered, had this song in mind, and just thinking of Sabrina Salerno in the current, you know, the current years,
yeah.
just thinking about her, and I was like, imagine you'd have to write a song for her for like a current contemporary movie where a girl like her doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, the killer trophy, but
Yeah.
she could
Yeah.
actually be something else, you know. And so that's something that set my fantasy in motion, and inspired that song, and eventually that song became the song that started off an entire album. So that's
Yeah.
how pretty much everything works.
Yeah.
It's just in this vibe where you can see something happening. Or the song that I did for that song, the first song that I did with Cody, the one is called "To Live and Die in the Air."
Yeah.
Was watching a movie. The movie was by William Friedkin. I'm not sure if you ever seen the one. It's "To Live and Die in LA." It's
What's it
from
called?
1980. "To Live and Die in Los Angeles, LA."
Oh, yes. 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 I do know the film. Yep.
And I remember just watching this thing for the first time. I didn't get to watch it in the 80s, so this was like while I was recording the album. And there's a certain scene towards the end of the movie where there's no sound. You can just see the characters, and there's a big fire happening in the background. And for some reason, that scene was sort of shot in slow motion, and I could hear like looking at this thing, I could hear a progression. So I stopped the movie. I got there and just wrote the song there. So it's visual
Oh,
stuff, I guess.
sorry, yawn.
You're most
I'm not. I'm
welcome.
not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not bored. I'm just. I
It's
got up.
don't
I had
worry.
to get up early.
What time is it over there?
It's only like 5 to 10. I
Five
just
to
have
ten.
a. Mhm. Yeah, I've been unwell, and I've just been really tired all the time. So yeah, I sometimes, yeah. It's not because I'm
But
bored.
no, don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry about that. How's it going out there as of late? Like, is it getting different with this? lockdown situation in terms of your sleep routine, or
Yeah, oh yeah. My sleep routine is gone in the bin. Um, I'm staying. I basically like if I have to do something, I have to set my alarm to get up to do it. Like so say if I have a doctor's appointment, I'll make it 10 o'clock in the morning because I know then I have to get up and get out. Um, because otherwise I will lay in bed as long as possible and I'll nap and then I'll like it gets to nighttime and then I'm awake at 3 a.m. and I'm like, oh, I might talk to some American friends on video chat now. And then it gets to 5 a.m. and I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably try and close my eyes. And then it gets to this time and then I'm tired because I was talking to my friend in Austria um, until about 3:34 or something this morning. Even
that's
though I knew I
cool.
had so yeah, and yeah, but lockdown has made that possible actually because if I was working I wouldn't be able to stay
Right.
up
Yeah.
and chat with all these people during
Yeah.
those times when we're normally asleep. So yeah, I've been able to catch up with tons of people like really good friends like in different things because I'm
That's a good
not
thing.
so that's been really good. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah. I've been like having like insane dreams and things.
Really?
Yeah, like I've
Have
been
you
having
thought?
insane dreams all the time because I'm watching so much um shit, but mostly horror. I'm watching so much horror and sci-fi and stuff. And I'm having these weird dreams. Like I always thought I always like even as a child I used to have crazy dreams, like full on like start, beginning, end of like a film. And
Wow.
I wish I could remember them properly. And they recur. Like I have them again. Like I have recurring ones where it's like the
You do.
same story again. So it's like it's a film that I've written in my mind and it keeps coming back. And I've always been like, I've got to write this down, like some of this down, because it'd be an amazing book or like an
You should.
amazing movie. Because
You really should.
because it's like your subconscious, it's like melting all of these things that I've ever seen in my life and read, and it's like turning, I'm having this narrative in my mind, like
It's
so.
working nonstop, and you can really tell that it's working all the time, even while
Mm,
you're doing something else. And you should
yeah,
do
yeah.
definitely write some of that down, because
Oh yeah,
dreams.
yeah, yeah.
There's
And
there.
they're like extreme. Like the only way to explain it is they're very um elaborate storylines with really crazy things, like
And
like
twists and stuff.
yeah, and like the characters do this or like whatever, there's a thing and there's a yeah, I mean it's almost like I guess horror films and things like or weird sci-fi stuff that like I could totally do something with. um
When you're dreaming, do you get the feeling that you're dreaming, or does it feel like it's real?
no, I feel I'm dreaming it, and it's like, and I'm like following it, like it's almost like I'm watching my own movie that I'm making or something.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, and I've had like one of them like numerous times over the last like 15 years, like, and it's like why do I've got to actually
15 years.
yeah, and I'm like, well, I've got to sit down and actually write parts of it down because it's like, you know, I've always
Yeah.
wanted to write like a horror, even like a short horror novel or something like.
You
Um,
should go for it.
yeah, well, like it's such a. I mean, I don't think I've been doing. I started like a new horror thing where I'm like doing like reviews of horror movies, and I've seriously watched like in the last couple of weeks like 50 something horror films, and I'm like,
Wow.
I've got all these backlogs of reviews for the ones that I feel like are worthy of a review. So, I'm doing
That's
that kind of
beautiful.
stuff. So I'm trying to do that kind of stuff as well, and I'm working on a oh, I was just gonna say we're gonna get the stupid reminder again. So what I'll hang up and call you back.